All right, so today I'm having a chat with the beautiful Sally and her partner Martin, who are business and life partners. Together they own the Business Institute of Coaching Professionals and dedicate their time to help people grow a profitable and sustainable lifestyle business. Although they lived in Australia for almost 7 years, Marty is originally from Manchester in the UK and Sally is from Auckland, New Zealand. I met these guys in the flesh about 2 years ago when they visited Mexico with my younger sister. I have to admit, I was instantly drawn to them and super impressed when we were sitting at a bar having welcome to Mexico margaritas and Marty's alarm goes off on his phone, titled gratitude. I mean, whoever can keep it real, have a stiff drink while oozing with gratitude is a legend in my eyes.
Very easy.
Oh, right. I've really enjoyed watching their journey unfold, and as much as I can see on social media, Sally, you're really stepping into business leadership, which I absolutely adore about you. You guys are super inspiring to me, and I look forward to hearing more about the kind of kinks that you both experience as a couple in love and also a couple in business, and how you've become to be who you've become. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Woohoo!
Thank you for the intro as well.
Yes.
You're very welcome. Oh yeah, well, not bad for a first timer, hey?
You remember the gratitude piece.
Yeah.
Literally,
Still has that, by the way.
because literally 10 minutes ago that went off again while we were on this having a chat before, so it's so funny.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be. I love that. So the Co is built on 3 core values, which we've briefly spoken about: connection, community, and conscious wealth. And getting a feel for you guys and what you stand for and what you thrive for, I feel it would be fitting to dive into conscious wealth and what that means for you as a business, and also connections and how you keep it real together, living, breathing, eating, and building an empire together. So whoever wants to take the mic and begin, I'm really curious to hear what's coming up for you when I see the conscious wealth or connections.
Yeah, I think the conscious wealth aspect, for me anyway, that really comes up for myself, because I think that's effectively what I love about everything that the coaching industry, the consulting industry, everything about lifestyle these days represents. I think we've got this amazing opportunity in life that we can just take. And I think more and more people are waking up to that opportunity. Whether or not they do anything about that is another thing. However, I think people are waking up more and more to that conscious wealth opportunity every single day. And we are literally in the best time on the planet right now. And I think it's awesome for people like yourself who are just really getting people's messages out there. Yes, this is the first time you're doing this, but this is going to, create that snowball effect, and you get to talk about the things that you want to talk around with this as well. So I think that's, on that front, it's a really powerful thing that I think is happening in the world right now. I don't know about yourself.
I think mine's kind of similar as well. I do think that the conventional way of doing things is coming up with a lot of resistance, and it has done for a long time, I think, where people aren't necessarily wanting to, go and study at a university and get a job. And with the power of the internet and obviously going into coaching, consulting, there is so much freedom and so many more opportunities and a lot more fulfilling as well. So, I think that's really key.
Yeah, and I think with this space right now, you just mentioned it before. You said, I've put this website together in a few weeks and, I'm getting my message out there with 3-4 weeks in, and that's all it takes nowadays. And, you can build a business that is profitable. You can build a lifestyle that's profitable from, realistically, don't get me wrong, there's challenges, but you can start to profit from day 1, day 30. And I think that's so key to people stepping into this space. It's like there's so much abundance right now, but there's so much enjoyment to be had in actually making money. And I think that's the big change right now.
100%.
You talk about money like it's sexy. I kind of like that.
Oh, it is.
I like that. I want to rewind and go back to you mentioned challenges. And I mean, just thinking of yourselves coming as from different career paths, different past lives, how did you guys come together to want to build this coaching platform?
Yeah, that's a great
Well, it all
question.
started
Actually,
with Martin, really. You
I think, so when you probably met me as well, I was coming to the end of, so we've obviously been in this business together a few years now, but before that, I built a business that was, you call successful on the outside, but it had kind of come to its end, and I wasn't aware of the challenges, because where I was sat was, you go and build a business for 5-10 years and then sell it. And I was probably 3-4 years in, but I wasn't ready to let that go yet. And what that was causing was some challenges for me turning up. It was causing challenges for me daily. Like, I would spend 3 hours a day in meditation, and I was like, I'm zenning out, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but really I was just hiding from the fact that I wasn't happy in my business.
Yeah.
So that was creating challenges all over, wasn't it?
Totally.
As in, on the financial side, I don't want to make out like we were in a good place. So I think that allowed me to almost create more challenges for myself, because I was in a space of where it didn't really matter. So, and then that's where this kind of came from, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we were also building separate businesses as well, but we were using the same business model. So we were just we were teaching different industries, and we sort of decided to, we were kind of sat there thinking, well, we are building two separate businesses, so why not actually collaborate, broaden the market a little bit, and come together, because we were essentially doing the same thing. Yeah.
And that was causing friction, because I know you said you want the dirty side, and it does cause, like, you are in a place where, Sal was growing her business. I was probably coming to the end of growing mine. And you're in a place where you're setting targets for each other, and, you're trying to be this team. But on the flip side, you're building something completely separate.
Yeah.
You're seeing the other person kind of almost like make mistakes, but then when you talk about that, it's kind of like, if Sal said, why haven't you turned up for a week? I'd be like, oh, well, I'm just meditating. You know what I mean? And that, and in the background, then, on my side, I start to do different things. And then Sal's like, why is this guy not turning up? 2 years ago, this guy was a machine, and now he's not turning up. So there's all that side of things as well. That I think is, again, has probably led us to the point where it was a case of stop making separate targets, stop making separate life plans, like actually come together, because we both enjoy helping people. Really what we help with is creating a lifestyle business that pays good money. So
that's based around you.
Yeah, that's based around you. So why not come together with that, instead of trying to teach two separate things that just aren't. So I was doing really well, but I was, struggling on my end. So it's a case of,
you're just coming through a different
I'd almost felt like and this was the thing, I felt like I'd made it, and I felt like I was almost I wasn't a big deal, but I felt like I'd done everything I wanted to achieve, and I hadn't reset. I hadn't reset the goals. I hadn't reset the desire, the ambition. So we were in a place where, everything was sweet, but it actually wasn't. So that's kind of where this business.
Telling my story, Marty. I'm resonating with you so much. It's ridiculous. Seriously, I want to go back though when you said causing friction. I mean, as entrepreneurs, as hustlers, as go-getters, I've never been in a relationship with someone that can match me. And it sounds like, just from what you're saying, Sally, you were very much there to be not only his kick up the butt and get back into your action, but holding him accountable, which is such a beautiful thing. I crave that from people, let alone a partner to be. So, Marty, how were you at the receiving end of that? Were you open to see that as like love and guidance, or were you like, girl,
I don't know.
Hey.
So when Sal and I got together, like, I can't remember what year it was, but it was a few years ago now. And sorry. And we were like, I was actually in LA at the time, and we were messaging. I went to LA for 2 weeks, and Sal was in Australia. And we were having the conversation about, you know, were we going to give this a go? And she said, what do you want? And I was like, the only thing I want is support. And like that is true to me, because I know that the personality I'm very like all in. I don't think of consequences. I'm almost like your typical entrepreneur in that way, as in, you know, I created a new business 2 weeks ago, and like I got really excited, took on some clients, and like almost don't talk about that just because I get excited about it. And but on the flip side, in these moments when the business wasn't giving me that pleasure or that excitement anymore, like that's when you really need support. But as you say, how did I respond to that? Probably not great. As in, you know, you can see that as an attack. It's like, why are you attacking my character? Because, and again, you go, this is where the ego comes in as well. It's like, why are you attacking my character? Because I've done this and I've done this and I've built this. So that was very much the response at the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally. And I also think there's always been a bit of a kind of catch up. And I do think that that's why we are a good team and why we are where we are now, because even in the beginning, you know, I had different money beliefs as well to Martin, and I had to make a decision because it was out of balance. Like when we were planning on going for trips and things like that, it was almost like in the beginning, like I wasn't really prepared to kind of go all in and really believe in myself to match the prices when we were running separate businesses with Martin. And that also caused like a bit of friction because I was almost unwilling or unable to see what was really going on at that time. I was almost kind of leaning on Martin and sort of saying, well, you know, he can take care of it. But really through our journey, I've kind of realized that that's also quite disempowering. And he didn't do any of that. Like that was just a decision that I had made.
How did you come up with that decision, Sally? Like what shifted in you? Was it something that he was modeling, or his energy, behavior? Was it something you read, heard?
Yeah. I think
I wanted to protect. I think potentially some of that was, I just answered this on my end anyway. And it's like, I definitely protect, and I'll let Sal finish off for herself. I remember feeling that. I was like, I need to let Sal go and do her thing because this is not serving her at all.
But you know what? I think that's kind of what I think I wanted in the beginning, because I think that's sort of almost how I had almost been raised, I guess. We're a family of all girls, and I think subconsciously we're sort of raised to kind of think, oh, you know, the family will take care of us sort of thing. And so that was sort of subconscious beliefs, and so leaning on Martin was just a natural thing for me. But I think it wasn't until we sort of really sat down and really aligned with future goals, and this was quite early on when we first got together.
I think as well,
some of those goals, like what did some of those goals sound like?
Well, they've sort of changed over the years.
They've changed.
Of course.
So our biggest goal right now, like this is I got off a call the other day. It was 2 weeks ago, and it's still happening. Like we're aiming to stretch. So I got off a call with a friend in the UK, and he's built like a $40 million business. And I went to school with this guy. We're still good friends, and I didn't realize what level he was playing at. And we're doing okay. We're doing well. And then you have a call like that, and it changes your whole belief system. And I was like, so we sat down 2 weeks ago, and I was like, why are we not talking in $50, $100 million? Why are we talking in single millions? Okay, so I'd say our new goal, like we want to create $1 billion of wealth. That's our goal.
Your goal
if you had to ask,
what was your goal when you guys first sat down? I mean, because the reason why I ask you is because I like smell consciousness from you, and it's a beautiful scent. But so many couples and even solopreneurs out there like just don't have these conversations with themselves.
Yeah.
So what does it sound like when you're saying, listen, this is what's up, the cards are on the table, I want this for you, I want this for us. Like, what did that sound like? What did that look like in the early days?
We had 3 stages, didn't we? We did it on a big whiteboard. Stage 1 was stable. Okay, so that was, I believe, we were both making X amount of money, like 70K a year each, something like that.
Yeah.
And that allowed us to buy Bastille, our dog, and it allowed us to go on 1 holiday a year.
Yeah.
And it allowed us to save X amount and allowed us to live a certain lifestyle.
Okay.
Then there was stable, then there was rich, comfortable, sorry, and then which was $330,000 a year between us, and that allowed us to have a car, 2 holidays a year, etc., etc. And then there was wealthy, which was for us, it was $1 million a year between us, and then that allowed us to again have X, Y, and Z in our lifestyle. And there's pictures of us in like 2015. Like, we used to document this when we weren't even really, like, I wasn't that far in business, so I was still at work. We would take pictures of our goals and vision boards, and we'd have parties at our house, and people would come in, and our whiteboard was middle of the living room, and people would be like, "You want to make $1 million?" And and it was like, and they'd start like writing on our board, and I get really pissed off because I was like, "Get off my goals." Do you know what I mean? And
I love that. So let me see that I've got this: stable, comfortable, and wealthy.
Yes.
I love that. And for anyone listening, I mean, that's just stripping it back down to bare basics, isn't it? And in a language that we can all connect with. Right? What do we need to be stable? What do we desire to be comfortable? And what do we really froth for to be wealthy? So fast forward now, unless you want to add, do you want to add something to that, Sally?
Like what we did that was really different in the beginning was that we actually sat down and figured out where we wanted to live. Like at that point it was Melbourne, not so much anymore. But our dream house that was in Brighton. I can't even remember it's on the Golden Mile. It was a mansion. It was ridiculous and amazing. And we would walk past it every single morning, and we would have it on the vision board, and we would have how much it cost or how much it sold for. It's probably a lot more now. And all the figures, how much we needed to make in order to buy that. And this is, you know, you've got the different stages. So you've got, stable, comfortable, and wealthy. Yeah. And so we wrote down how much the cars cost. We wrote how much we need to be making. Yeah. We had all of the figures. Like most people, they have these dreams and these ideas, but they don't put pen to paper, and
they're scared of that reality.
And they don't write down the actual figures and get real. Because so many people are like, oh, $1 million. You can't buy a decent house for $1 million in Australia. Yeah. And it's about getting real with like how much you want to make. And when you're in business, you can obviously make a lot more. But it is about getting real with those numbers and aligning with them together and saying, are we committed to making this happen? Because that's essentially, we had to look ourselves in the mirror, and we thought, there was big numbers for us at that time. And we were just thinking, oh my God, how are we going to make this work? But every time we've made it work.
Yeah. And
you've got to commit to it. I'll
kind of add a bit, you might go into this after, I don't know. Like the one thing we've done differently is we've committed at every single level stage. To the point of like, we are going to die or this is going to fail. Like, and I don't know what that looks like to other people, but we've spent money on top of money that we couldn't afford. Yeah. And we got into, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt to make things happen. Yeah. And when you get to the point where that 100K of debt or more, whatever you're in, where you can pay that in a month, that's what is really the big thing here, is about creating more for yourself and tapping into how you create more, rather than going, what am I going to cut out? Yes, and how can I be sensible? Because don't get me wrong, I've done some stupid stuff in the last 5 years that have probably put us in more trouble than we need to be in. But at the same time, we've always committed to that trouble, so to speak.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
Kind of, but I want to explore this trouble. Give me a tangible example, because the whole point of this platform is just to dive into those dang it moments, you know, because I bet for someone that's listening, they're like, whoa, like, I said to both of you, like, I think you're telling my story. And I think that's the craziest thing about this when we're exchanging our experiences. Like, man, I've done that. I've done that, you know, and we're just so more relatable. So give us an example.
I think probably the best example is when we first started. Sal was, I was still in work at the time. I had a good salary, so it was this was probably a bigger deal because, you know, I was doing what you would consider corporate. I was doing well in the corporate world. And I went to a seminar on a Saturday morning. Sal was in Thailand with a few friends, and I quit my job without telling her and signed up to a $25,000 mentorship. To start a new business, and we didn't have the money. I had $270 left after that was paid, with no job, nothing else, and
I was making about
$800 a week, I think.
Yeah, like on an hourly rate.
So our rent was $700 a week, and that was like, again, and I've done this a few times. Sal's done this, but that was the first one where I was like, I'm not sitting in this life anymore. I'm going to go out and I'm going to make something of what I think I can do. And that in itself was really scary. But, you know, I made that money back in about 4 weeks by getting help. And have been able to continue that. But I think in that moment, again, we go back to committing and putting ourselves in trouble. Like, that was never guaranteed to happen. As in, I wasn't guaranteed to make it work. However, internally, I had burnt all bridges on my end, and you've done the same. Like, you quit your job, same thing.
And I think sometimes, like, you know, there's a lot of people sharing quotes like, you know, making sure that you, as being, you know, you've got to step into uncomfortable situations and make yourself uncomfortable to be successful. That's uncomfortable. Like, that's really, like, you know, growing a business and really deciding to go all in and commit is uncomfortable because you're stepping into a new way of being and you're entering the unknown. You have no idea whether it's going to work out or not. Like, yes, you've got the right help, but you still have to take the appropriate action steps every single day and step into that person and show up in order to get the results. But that is one of the best ways, and it is uncomfortable. And a lot of people choose not to do, you know, things like that because it is uncomfortable and it just takes longer.
I want to know your reaction, Sally. So Marty, when you're like, oh, babe, by the way, just dropped almost 30K on a call. She's like, oh, yeah, sweet. Is that how it went down?
Yeah.
That's literally how it went down. Because the thing is, I know Martin, but I knew Martin at that point. Like, he was miserable at work. Like, he hated it. Like, he was coming home and he was just not using his potential. And I could see his potential. And so when he sent me that message, it was through message as well. I was just like, yeah, cool. Like, go for it. Like, this is your jam. You're only going to fight. Like, who am I to be like, no, you've got to stay in a job because I'm scared. Like, no, you've got to support that person in whatever they want to be doing, because if you help empower them, you become a powerful couple together. Yeah. And he actually inspired me by doing that. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think and in that itself, like, I started living this lifestyle. Sal was at work and, you know, I was traveling across the world doing events. All of a sudden, Sal was at work and she got really pissed off, like the fact that...
Really jelly.
Yeah, really jelly. And I remember once I was going to Port Douglas on a business trip, and we'd just come back from like 6 weeks in the UK. Yeah. And like, she put the phone down on me because it was just like, it was such a contrast, because it was like, shit, you're living your life. And that has now caused me to feel like almost disempowered, because I actually want to be doing something with my life as well. So I think it's then about the partner on my side to have that serious conversation and go, so like, we're not fighting against each other here. It's like, you've got to step up yourself now, or we're just going to drift apart. And those are the types of conversations as well. Like, I think we're more than willing to have. We have them constantly. It's like,
always
if I'm not pulling my weight in the relationship, then why not? Like, what's going on?
Because it's never the other person. It's always it's always ourselves and what we're bringing, to the relationship.
Guys, I need like mic drops now. This is so freaking good. And I'm so grateful to have you guys on our very first chat on the Paper Planes podcast. This is insane. Oh my goodness. You guys are just dropping like so much goodness. Do you even realize the stuff you're saying? You probably don't.
I think we've become numb to it.
It just rolls off your tongue so effortlessly, you know. It's brilliant.
It's all you as well. It's all you asking the great questions.
That's right.
You're like giving
providing
the
platform.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm winging it, and you guys are winging it with me. This is great. So, I mean, wow, we've touched on so organically both the conscious wealth as an enterprise that you guys are creating, and you've touched on each other's story. But something that just keeps coming up for me is like hashtag couple goals or power couple, because you guys is, at least from what I'm feeling and seeing, it's like you're so intertwined and you really are showing up as the definition of team. And what I love is that support is so sincere. And I see that, Sally, you know, you're always giving that. And now, Marty, you're being very reciprocal of that. And I think that's so beautiful. And maybe that's your secret as a love couple and also doing business together, right? Because a lot of people cannot do it. But you guys definitely have cracked the code. And what I'm hearing is it's just coming down to communication. You know, communication, having that common support, sharing those common goals, and being open to asking each other, like, how can I help you? Or how is this serving you? Anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, I think in a relationship, if you don't have those big goals that both inspire you and both, you know, where you're kind of looking at them like thinking, shit, like these are big. Are we committing to this? Is this, you know, as scary as it is exciting? Because when you're moving through day to day, you're not focused on the little things because you understand that what you're actually building here is so much bigger. And so I think it is really important. Like, it does come down to communication, but I really think the big thing, and it doesn't matter whether you've got couple in business or just a couple in general, having those big goals. And because I think in the beginning, for a lot of couples, like the goal is to, you know, get married, or, you know, the goal is to then buy a house. And then the goal is to then, you know, have kids. But then what? Like, what happens after that? You know, then it subsides. And then often a lot of the finances become hard, a struggle. And then they become like bitter between each other. I read a lot of marriage books, so I kind of know these things. And so that was something that was really important for me in the beginning, because I did my research and I could see that for a lot of marriages, or we're not married, but like a lot of relationships fail because there is, you know, a lot of stress financially.
I just got that.
And right, yeah.
Wink, wink.
I do think that there's like, a lot of, it does come down to the finances, and that wasn't something that wasn't a road I was prepared to go down. And so even in my, you know, mid-20s, I was like, cool, I want to make this work. Like, let's get the finances in check. Let's build this business. Like, what are the goals that we want to achieve? How much do we want to make? What's the life that we want to create? And so that we've really eliminated that as a potential breakup cause. Yeah,
for sure. And I think, like you said, it's having that consistent communication. Like, we have to be, like, especially now more than ever, like, we're in the same business. Like, it's very easy to chill. very, very easy right now. But we have to, like, we have a little whiteboard over in the corner, and like we have to like come together and make sure that every single day, like, we're on the same wavelength. Otherwise, it's just, it's so easy to fall off track in your relationship. And I think, you know, we've definitely been guilty of that along the way at stages, as in, you know, if we don't have that clear plan, give it a week and we'll start to bicker, because you can't do it any other way. Like, we're in each other's company all the time. So it's like, for us, that communication comes from, goal setting, like making sure we have enough space for each other as well.
And we set up our business that way.
Yeah. Like we have to make sure, the one thing for us, I think, is we set aside quality time versus business time.
Yes.
Like, that's so key. It's like,
what's
go and spend.
Both of ours is quality time.
Both
quality
time. I'm so glad to hear that that's a priority for you. That's very special. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We could chat for hours. I think I'm going to have you guys on again in the near future and see what wealthy looks like, because I already know what your definition of wealthy is. But just to wrap up before we go into our fire round of questions, my biggest takeaways from your shares is that support, that communication, having goals for self and also as a team is so valuable. And I love the way you break down conscious wealth in terms of stable, comfort, and wealthy. That is brilliant. I'm definitely going to take that and put that in my little handy dandy notebook. That is so good. Thank you for sharing that. All right, let's dive into our fun facts about you guys. It's just like quick little fun things to know about each other. Favorite color?
Blue.
Black and white.
They're not colors, babe. They're tones, but I'll let you get away.
I knew someone always says that.
Favorite food?
Mexican.
Wow. Well, when are you coming back? There you go.
I know.
There you go. Favorite quote?
Oh,
Jesus. I don't know. I don't actually have any quotes that I like. Let's make one up, shall we?
Sure.
I don't know. Commit. That's my quote. Decide and commit. There we go.
That's when it comes down to it and you need an answer, decide and commit. That's brilliant. I'll have to quote that into you guys.
Yeah.
Favorite pastime? Should it have been a good time or a really crappy time, but you can look back and be like, nailed it?
Yeah, good question. I'd say mine was around that time I was talking about a few years ago in the business, like, you know, going through what I needed to go through and then coming out of it on the other end and going, I actually needed to go through that. I actually needed to grow from that. So that was my favorite time, because I can now, when things are going a different way than I want, now I can go, well, this happened before and everything worked out. I really like that. So that was mine.
Thank you.
Ooh, favorite pastime. I think the big turning point for me was actually reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Because I was already on like a personal development journey at the time, but reading his book, honestly, it changed the whole thing. Like, it changed my mindset, it changed my life, and that's been the biggest shift for me. If I look back and think about that pivotal moment, it was nice. Robert Kiyosaki. So shout out if he's watching this.
I know, not sponsored or anything, but we'll drop a link in the show notes. No problem. Well, excuse me, we'll have to get him on in the near future. Wouldn't that be wild? Right? Can you imagine? Oh my God. And the last random fun fact about each of y'all: what is your favorite song right now?
Mine's always Ed Sheeran. Anything Ed Sheeran. I love Ed Sheeran. So
he's romantic.
Yeah, I am.
He is.
She's not. House music, all the way.
House music. like I shared any house music. Like I love all kinds of music, but I think my go-to is always house music. I think I shared on my story recently a really small clip from your 30th when we were in Mexico.
You did,
Yeah.
And I was just like it was just playing. I found it in my photo album on my phone, and immediately like I was like, yes, like it's being there. So any house music, I just it's
Get you going. I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And to wrap things up, either you can say together or each individually, but if you could only leave our community with one final message, what would it be?
You go.
Ooh, there's so much. But I think it kind of ties into the quote that we said earlier. I think the big message and really the big contributor to where we are or what's got us to where we are today is really just deciding and committing to it, like making that commitment to just follow through every single day, even when you don't necessarily feel like it, or you're having a really great day, but just constantly moving forward would be my
You're giving me goosebumps, and it's 30 degrees here in Mexico. It's so good. Commit. What is it? Decide, commit, and take action. It's so simple. It's so simple. I love that. All right, guys, where can our people find you? Where are you on social media?
So, points to me.
Yeah.
So Instagram, so my Instagram mainly, and Facebook, Sally Kerridge-Temm. And same with Martin, actually, same thing.
Martin Tomchuk on Facebook is probably the best place
we
to
can
find
spell
me.
it out.
We can maybe drop it in the comments.
We will.
Or you can go to Facebook and type in the Business Institute of Coaching Professionals, and that's a great place to find us as well.
Yes.
Lovely.
Wonderful. You guys, wow. It's Monday night for me. It's Tuesday for you. You've just lit my life, and it's time to go to bed. I'm not going to bed.
Great idea.
Thank you so much for your time, your truth bombs, your dang it moments. And it's really cool to see you guys thriving, to come from where you've come from, and you're doing it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. All right. Enjoy your day, guys.
Guys, thanks for watching.
Bye.